actually know. You don't have to believe anything. So yeah, shout out to you for catching that and correcting it right on cue. And yeah, man, I'm looking forward to talking about this Michael Oher situation. That's the premise. Well, I know you don't want to start yet, so I'll wait to the space start to get my comments.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna go ahead while our people they'll be coming up in here. Shout out to anybody that's on YouTube, y'all. For all my people that come to YouTube, make sure you go ahead and subscribe, like, share, comment to the broadcast. Make sure you subscribe, share, like, comment on the actual broadcast. First, want to go ahead and, like I said, we're gonna touch up on all three of them tonight. We're gonna touch up on Clarence Avant, Michael Orr, and of course, the situation that went down in Mississippi with the actual cops who already pleaded guilty to federal charges. Today, they actually pleaded guilty to actual state charges as well. To the article I have, it did not include the state charges that they pled guilty to, but yeah, they did plead guilty to the state charges as well too. I want to go ahead and Clarence Avant was a major player in black entertainment for what 5 decades, 5 6 decades at least. So I want to go ahead and give him his flowers, give him a shout out or whatever, and go ahead and start off the actual space shot not Clarence Avant. And just real quick, I'm gonna when I get a chance, I'm gonna put those articles up there in the jumbotron as well too. Let me go ahead real quick and touch up on Clarence Avant, his career, and what he meant, and some of the accomplishments that he was able to achieve in his career in his lifetime. And I'm gonna go ahead and get to the Mississippi police officers, and I'm also got to go ahead and touch up on the Michael Orr situation. The Michael Orr situation is rocking social media. Shout out, I see Black Majority State up in the spot as well too. From the Neo Jim Crow, curator on Newstoter.com platform, guys, make sure you visit Newstoter.com to stay up to date on breaking news in Black America. Clarence Avant, the godfather of black entertainment, dies at 92. So shout out to that brother. He lived a long life, 92 years of age. Most of us wish that we can see that long. So shout out to him. He did everything in his life that you could hope and only dream for. So very accomplished man. Clarence Avant, whose unofficial title, the Black Godfather, spanned the worlds of music, sports, entertainment, and politics, died Sunday at his home in Los Angeles, according to a statement from his family. No cause of death was provided. He was 92. Also, let me give a quick shout out to the rapper Magoo as well too. With Timberland and Missy, he passed away as well too. So let me give a shout out to Magoo. He was in the 90s. He was with Timberland and Missy and Aaliyah and Genuine. He was part of that whole crew. And shout out to that brother. I was saddened to hear that he had passed away. I believe they say somebody told me he was 50 years of age. But shout out to Magoo as well. It is with a heavy heart that the Avant Serrano's family announced the passing of Clarence Alexander Avant. The statement from his children, Nicole and Alexander, and son in law, Ted Serranos. Through his revolutionary business leadership, Clarence became affectionately known as a black godfather in the world of music, entertainment, politics, and sports. Clarence lives behind a loving family and a sea of friends and associates that have changed the world and will continue to change the world for generations to come. The joy of his legacy eases the sorrow of our loss. Clarence passed away gently at home in Los Angeles on Sunday, August 13th, 2023. Avant's list of accomplishments is long, broad, and varied. Initially a nightclub manager, he spent the 1960s managing Jimmy Smith. He went on to found two record labels through which he gave the world Bill Weathers, Sixto Rodriguez, and Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. He helped broker the sale of legendary Stax record back in the 1960s. 30 years later, he became the chairman of the board of Motown Records and subsequently the first Black American board member of Polygram. He launched one of the first fully Black-owned radio stations and didn't hesitate to take stands in defense of Black culture as a consultant to MGM and ABC in the 1970s. He also served as an advisor, official and otherwise, of Presidents Jimmy Carter, Bill Clinton, George Bush, and Barack Obama. But it's for his role as an industry mentor in the music business that Avant is perhaps most lauded. In addition to Jimmy Jam and Lewis, figures as diverse as L.A. Reid and Babyface, Sylvia Rhone, and Jimmy Levine count on him as a key mentor. He persuaded NFL star Jim Brown to launch his acting career. He has been an active figure in politics since the 1960s and received a star on Hollywood Walk of Fame on October 7th. As Avant's lifelong best friend, Quincy Jones, once put it, everyone in the business has been by Clarence desk if they're smart. In 2016, a career-spanning interview with Variety, Avant referenced his mentor, former Louis Armstrong and Barbara Streisand manager Joe Glasser. When asked about the breadth of his ambitions, it goes all the way back to Joe Glasser. What he taught me, aim high, he said. You can't walk up the Empire State Building. You'll get tired. Your knees might give out, but you can ride the elevator and walk down. You always aim up here and walk down later if you have to. He was born February 25th, 1931, in Greensboro, North Carolina. Overcoming many of the challenges, hardships of segregation, he grew to prominence starting in the 1960s, managing the careers of Smith along with pioneering blues artists Little Willie John, singer Sarah Vaughan, and jazz producer Creed Taylor. The contract he negotiated with A&M Records for the latter put him on the music industry's map as a deal maker. In 1968, Avant orchestrated the sale of legendary soul powerhouse Stax record. Although the deal did not go well for the company's founder, it went bankrupt several years later. In 1967, he married Jacqueline Gray, and they had two children, daughter Nicole Avant, a former U.S. ambassador, political advisor, film producer, and philanthropist who was married to Netflix co-CEO Ted Sarandos, and son Alex Avant, an agent, producer, and actor based in Los Angeles. However, the family was struck by tragedy late in 2021 when his wife, Jacqueline, was shot to death in a burglary attempt at the couple's home in Los Angeles. She was 81. After moving to Los Angeles in the late 60s, he formed his own record label and signed legendary soul singer Bill Withers, among other acts. He purchased KAGB FM, making it the only black-owned FM station in Los Angeles at the time. He also worked closely with legends such as Muhammad Ali, for whom he secured a variety special on ABC, NFL Hall of Famer Jim Brown, whom he helped become a film star, and Major League Baseball home run record breaker Hank Aaron, for whom he negotiated the largest endorsement deal in professional sports history at the time. Without Clarence Avant, there is no Hank Aaron. Aaron would later say in his documentary film, The Black Godfather. During the 1980s, he founded Taboo Records and released hits by the SOS Band, Alexander O'Neill, and Sherelle, among others. He also worked closely with then budding hit makers Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, helping them to connect with Janet Jackson to produce her 1986 breakthrough Control album, and advised L.A. Reid and Kenny Babyface Edmonds on the launch of LaFace Records. He was also promoter of Michael Jackson's first ever solo tour, the 1988 Bad Tour. In 1993, he was named chairman of Motown Records after his sale of Polygram. Both companies are now owned by Universal Music Group. He could continue to operate his interior music group, Avant Music Publishing Companies, until they were sold in 2018 to Universal. He is inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame by Lionel Richie in 2021, was awarded the industry icon at the Grammys, and has a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. My whole career has been like this, he told Variety in 2016. People ask me, how did you do all of this? How the F do I know? I just do things. I just like to take shots. So peace of that brother. Tremendous career, tremendous life that he lived. So shout out to Avant. Our condolences go out to his family as well, to the Clarence's family. Like I said, back in 2021, his wife was shot in a burglary of his house. Very, very crazy. She was 81 at the time, so definitely our thoughts and prayers are with his family. The passing of a true legend, somebody who has accomplished a great deal and had a major impact in the entertainment world, especially with black entertainers. He went beyond just music. He was able to hit movies and sports as well too. So he was definitely a power broker, affectionately nicknamed the Black Godfather, and that name seems like it's appropriate for everything that he was able to do in the time he was here on this planet as well. So shout out to him as well. Anybody want to say anything real quick, guys? Give me 1 second. I'll be right back as well too. So give me 1 second. All right, guys. Sorry for that delay. Anybody want to say anything before I move on to the next article? Because I want to touch up on this situation in Mississippi as well too. Ray, I see you up in the listener section. Everybody coming up in the space, you see the actual title of the actual room. Definitely go ahead and tweet the space out as well too. The co-hosts, they're not in tonight right now, so maybe we'll get somebody coming here. If not, we will hold it down. Let me go ahead and touch up on Brother Moku. You must have dropped now.
Yeah, my fault, Total.
No, you cool. You cool.
Yeah, so I don't know if you talked about Michael Oher yet.
No, I'm gonna get. I just talked about Clarence Avant. I'm gonna talk about the Mississippi people, and then I'm gonna touch up on. You know, we got to touch up on the Michael Orr thing. So I'm gonna get through this real quick, and then I'm gonna touch up on the actual Michael Orr thing. It's coming right up too. So let me go ahead and get to this article real quick. From the Atlanta Voice, it says 6 former Mississippi officers expected to plead guilty Monday in alleged torture of 2 black men. They did plead guilty on state charges. They had already pleaded guilty on federal charges, but they did plead guilty on state charges as well too. 6 former Mississippi law enforcement officers are accused of torturing and abusing 2 black men are set to appear in court Monday, where they're expected to plead guilty to state charges. Like I said, they already did that. Former Rankin County Sheriff's deputies Christian Demond, Hunter L. Ward, Brett Malcolpin, Jeffrey Middleton, Daniel Obdike, and ex-Richland police officer Joshua Harper each have been charged with conspiracy to commit obstruction of justice, according to a news release from the Mississippi Attorney Generals. Additionally, Demond is charged with home invasion and Elward is charged with home invasion and aggravated assault. The release says Malcolm, Middleton, O'Dyke, Hartford each face additional charges of first-degree obstruction of justice. They're expected to plead guilty in a plea deal, according to the Mississippi Department Deputy General Mary Helen Will. These cats, this is what they were accused of. This is what they were actually back when it says the 6 officers were charged with a combined 13 felonies in connection with the torture and physical abuse of 2 men that night. The Justice Department said in a release, the victims, Michael Jenkins and Eddie Parker, filed a federal lawsuit in June alleging the officer illegally entered their home, handcuffed, kicked, and waterboarded them, tased them, and attempted to sexually assault them across nearly 2 hours before one of the deputies put a gun in Jenkins' mouth and shot him. The Rankin County Sheriff Brian Bailey announced in June deputies had been fired, though he did not say how many nor their names. The Richland Police Department announced in July that Hartfield, who was off duty at the time of the alleged assault, had resigned. CNN has reached out to attorneys for each man for comment, but did not receive a response. For those representing Malcolm Deadman, attorneys for Middleton, Edward, and Hartfield declined comment. So basically, these boys is up here just breaking into people's house, beating the everlasting, you know what, out of them. And they were also accused of actually trying to sexually assault the people as well, too. So they've already pleaded guilty to the federal charges. This right here that they got hit up with today, that they pled guilty to, was actual state charges. So we'll see exactly how long they get up in there, but definitely they just been acting the fool in Mississippi, man. They pretty much just living how they want to live. So I just want to put that out there. They've already pleaded guilty to the federal charges. Today they pleaded guilty to the state charges as well too. So hopefully they'll be off the streets for a long time, and they won't be breaking into people's houses and everything else and torturing people, because that's what they really was arrested for, or really gonna go to jail for, was actual torture here. So shout out to the people coming up in the space. I want to go ahead and touch up on this Michael Orr thing now. And I know Brother Moku, go ahead, because I know you wanted to get up in that as well too. Shout out, I see DJ's up in the space. What's up, Rerod? What's up, Tony? But go ahead, Brother Moku, because I know you want to touch up on the actual Michael Orr situation, or you want me to go ahead and lead into that?
Yeah, you can lead in that because I don't want to spoil it for nobody. But what I will say about these were ex-cops breaking into people's houses, right? I want to make sure I ain't had that misconstrued.
Hold on one second. Uh-oh. Let me see. Hopefully the space ain't.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it was, Moko. How everybody doing tonight? Newstoter up, share the room out. You already know. So yeah, these six white cops.
Yeah, I'm back. I had froze up for a second, but go ahead, DJ.
Yeah, for sure. You know, well, if you wanted to talk to Moko, he was really asking you, but yeah, they pretty much broke into this brother house. You know, his fan was there, his homie or whatever, and they just pretty much beat him half to death, bro. Shot one of them in the mouth. Luckily, it didn't kill him. It just ricocheted through his jaw, so he can barely talk right now. You know what I'm saying? And every time you see him in an interview, you can tell he just in pain. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead, though.
Yeah, they ex-cops now, but they weren't ex-cops. I don't believe at the time all this went down. They ex-cops because they got kicked off the force and everything. But yeah, they was cops.
Right, and I would say this type of thing happened in Baltimore as well, where they had a group of cops going around here just terrorizing citizens, robbing them, all types of things. So this is not something that has just started. This has been going on for decades, and this is why we should be strictly precise with our words and not calling these individuals cops or police. They are racist. You know what I'm saying? They are definitely in position to harm us. They're not here to serve and protect us. They're here to serve and protect businesses. And the evidence is showing more and more every day when we see stories like this come out. But I'll let you go into the Michael Oher. I find this is really crazy what white people get away with.
Hey, yeah, I'm finna touch up on that too, man. Because like I said, when I went to I got ready to go to the article, like froze up. So DJ, you in the space? Because I froze up just a second ago when Mocha was calling my name. You up in the space? Mocha, you up in the space, right? You still here?
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm up in here.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna touch up on this article because I got to actually go to the site. I didn't get a chance to actually print this one up like the other one. So give me 1 second. This is one of my curation partners. Let me go ahead and get to the actual site and read this. Moku, can you still hear me?
Loud and clear.
Okay. This is from Black Sports Online, curator Newstoter.com platform. It says ex-Ravens Michael Oher says The Blind Side, which is a movie, was a lie, and he was never adopted by the Tuohys. If you've ever seen the interview with Michael Oher, it is evident that he's not a fan of the movie Blind Side. It is one thing not to be a fan of the movie, but now we know that Oher was taken advantage of by the family who got so much praise for taking him in. In the end, it looks like all it was a money grab for them. Retired NFL star Michael Oher, whose supposed adoption out of grinding poverty by a wealthy white family was immortalized in the 2009 movie The Blind Side, petitioned a Tennessee court Monday with allegations that a central element of the story was a lie concocted by the family to enrich itself at his expense. The 14-page petition filed in Shelby County, Tennessee probate court alleges that Sean and Leanne Tuohy, who took Oher into their home as a high school senior, never adopted him. Instead, less than 3 months after Oher turned 18 in 2004, the petition says the couple tricked him into signing a document making them the conservators, which gave them the legal authority to make business deals in his name. The petition further alleges that the Tuohys used their power as conservators to strike a deal that paid them and their two children millions of dollars in royalties from an Oscar-winning film that earned more than $300 million, while Oher got nothing for a story that would not have existed without him. In the years since, the Tuohys have continued calling the 37-year-old Oher their adopted son, have used that assertion to promote their foundation as well as Leanne Tuohy work as an author and motivational speaker. The lie of Michael's adoption is one upon which co-conservative Leanne Tuohy and Sean Tuohy have enriched themselves at the expense of their ward. The undersigned Michael Oher, the legal filing says, Michael Oher discovered this lie to his chagrin and embarrassment in February 2023 when he learned that the conservatorship to which he considered on the basis that doing so would make him a member of the Tuohy family, in fact, provided him no family relationship with the Tuohys. Mike's relationship with the Tuohy family started to decline when he discovered that he was portrayed in the movie as unintelligent. Their relationship continued to deteriorate as he learned that he was the only member of the family not receiving royalty checks from the movie, and that it was permanently fractured when he realized he He wasn't adopted as part of the family. For years, Orr has chafed at how The Blind Side depicted him, saying it hurt his football career and clouded how people viewed him. He said that based on the film, some NFL decision makers assumed he was mentally slow or lacked leadership skills. People look at me and they take things away from that movie. Orr told ESPN, they don't really see the skills and the kind of player I am. The Tuohys owe him not just an apology, but all the money they stole from him. White savior complex happens too often in our society. All right, Moku, if you want to go in.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Definitely, definitely act of white supremacy. It doesn't matter that these people are Jewish. This is what happens when we look for that white people God savior complex. We look for white people to for all the answers and never question them. You know, Michael Orr definitely played for the Ravens. When I seen that movie, I was kind of like really disgusted by it because they tried to act like he was just a big ass dumb black man, yeah, black boy. You know what I'm saying? Like he was just stupid. And I remember when the movie first came out, and I seen Michael Orr's reaction to it. It wasn't really good, and no one was paying attention to it. I hope he wins this lawsuit. It's really, really. This is proof that everything is about white supremacy, racism. How do a white family get away with faking an adoption? I mean, black people can't even fake a goddamn telephone bill or fake a goddamn sick day. And they got this whole Jewish family made a whole goddamn movie about this boy. I think it's really disheartening. I haven't watched the NFL since the Ravens won the Super Bowl. I've been on some fan NFL shit, and this is absolutely why. If this was a black family that did this to a white player, the NFL would be all into it with their lawyers, giving their white player all types of white privilege advice, lawyers, and all. They treat Michael Orr like, so what? You're not supposed to be mad. And I think this is just a big ass insult. I think anybody and everybody that watches the NFL should just continue. I mean, just cease watching. I really wish that one of maybe our celebrities or one of the NFL players start their own league, like the Big Three, like Ice Cube did, and just totally shut the NBA out. This is just a perfect example that the NFL stands for niggas for life. Period. You know what I'm saying? You get in that association, you are a nigga for life. And I'll land there.
Thank you, Brother Moku. I think the crazy thing, I tried to watch some of that movie. I watched bits and pieces of it, and I just had a hard time because his character was just an overgrown child, basically. And to look at the actual movie, he didn't know anything about football. He had to be taught the game, basically, by Sandra Bullock's character. He was this gigantic man child is what he was. He was this gigantic man child who had lucked up because he had this caring family, this caring white family took him in, and got him to the point where he became a success. He was able to go play college ball. He was able to make it to the NFL. And, they were able to change the whole course of his life just because of love and trust and understanding and everything else like that. But now you see that, hey, this was nonsense. And I had heard years ago that he was pissed off about that character. He was pissed off. He did not like the fact that how he was portrayed in that movie. Now, as that article I read, there were several breaking points to him and stuff. He didn't like how he was portrayed in that movie and everything else like that. I'm sure he said something about it. I know what you're saying about the NFL. The NFL should do something, but and you said it right, how do you go this long? Who knows when he was adopted? Because he's 37 years of age now. So you're talking about what he got adopted when I think it was right when he was 18 years of age or whatever. You know, how does this go this long without anybody seeing anything like that? Not only that, the movie grosses over $300 million. It's considered a classic. It's kind of type of movie that kind of brings Sandra Bullock's career back up. You know, it's this. You know, when people start talking, it's a feel good movie and all this other nonsense or whatever. You know, he doesn't make a dime of it. The movie's about him. You know, essentially, it's about him and him. You know, elevating himself. She makes money. Her husband makes money. Her biological kids make money. He makes nothing. And still, you think the people would have went back and said, well, let's go ahead and at least legally go ahead and change the paperwork and make it at least look like we adopted him. No, they don't even do that. So I'm not sure if there's anything really the NFL can do. I've heard people saying this today. I heard this on Sports Talk Radio because this story is out there. I heard people saying that, yo, Sandra Bullock either needs to give her awards up that she won for this movie, or she needs to go ahead and cut a check herself, give him the money or whatever, give him some money. 300.
How about she needs to be arrested? You know what I'm saying? How about she needs to be arrested? The family needs to be arrested. Even the goddamn offspring. They took money from him. All of them need to be arrested. Because guess what? If this was Freddie Gray, if this was Muko family, guess what? I would be in jail. So I think we shouldn't even ask for nothing. We shouldn't even be asking for Sandra Bullock to give back nothing except her goddamn time. You did a crime. You was accessory to it. And even the real family, the actors and the real family, y'all all are accessories to the crime. So they should do time. I mean, what you think about that, Toby?
Hey, you said the actors and everybody that was, so basically the entire Hollywood production. Oh, hey, I don't think that's gonna happen, Moku. But I think she could. She's got enough money. She's loaded. I think she should at least go ahead and cut the check. The producers of that movie should cut it. And then you're right about that. How in the hell do the producers? How do they? And see, this is what it was when he signed that. He signed that paperwork. You know, they basically making all of the business decisions for it. You're talking about somebody that's 17, 18 years old at the time. And they're making all of the future business decisions for this dude right here. So you're right about that, Mocha, in terms of the actual production company, the filmmakers, anybody that's been giving out residual income off of this movie. And I'm not even gonna put it all on Sandra Bullock. The ones who actually cutting the check, they the ones need to be cutting this dude a check right here. And they owe him a major apology because these white boys went ahead and they just wrote a script to make him look like a young version of the Green Mile up here that he just mumbling, he just mumbling and stuff like that. I had to turn it. I'm like, man, I can't watch this movie right here because it just didn't sit right with me.
Let me ask you a question. Like, don't you think asking for apologies or demanding apologies is old? I'm with your first choice.
No, get the money up. Get the money up. Get the money up.
I don't even want no apology. Cut the check. Give me. Matter of fact, every year, pay me. Every year. This not just a one-time settlement. You pay me the big settlement, and then every goddamn year, you on punishment for goddamn 10 years probation. Cut my check 10 years. That's what I think Michael Orr should ask for that because, just like I said, Tony, this was a team effort.
Oh, it was. This was a grift. This was the grift to the highest level here. Yeah, it was. Not only that, but whatever the family made and the churn made, all of that should be coming back to him times 2 times 3.
Big facts, Total. Big facts. I think we should even put that. I'm gonna put that on my timeline. Michael Orr should sue and get settlement payments for 10 years from everybody, Universal, whoever monetized or made it possible to make that movie. Sandra Bullock, even a little white kid, there was all of them. You know what I'm saying? I think the only one that shouldn't pay is the black actor that actually paid Michael Orr.
Hey, real talk, man. And not only that, but we already know how the NFL does. And I got you coming up. You know how the NFL does with these tests that they have at the combine, where they supposedly the Wonderlic, where they supposed to actually be testing your intelligence, how intelligent you are, this and that or whatever. I've heard the BS questions they've asked these prospects and stuff, these NFL prospects. all kind of personal stuff. I've heard people say it at these combines. They ask people, "Well, I heard that your mother was a prostitute," and all kind of just ridiculous stuff that they ask these actual prospects, namely the black ones. Because let's be for real, 65 to 70% of players are black, so they're asking that they're saving these real sharp questions for the black prospect. So imagine, like he said, this hurt his development. This hurt his actual pockets, his money that he could make, because basically when the NFL saw this kid come, they saw him coming as a big, strong dude who was a project, who was dumb as crayons, and that was going to need to be brought along really slow. Looking at that movie, whatever. So they did the movie did a hit job on his actual character as well too. It was a character assassination. It limited the amount of money that this brother could make in his career. And then you got the studios and all of them together in cahoots with this family, and they sitting up here making dollars and not even gonna kick it back to this dude. Not even gonna kick it back. And the family not even kicking it back. And to the day, they still claiming him as their adopted son. Now, check it. The wife, they got their own foundation that they launched as well too. The wife is a motivational speaker. She gets paid to go ahead. How often do you think she talks about this story? You know, she's getting paid anywhere from probably $1,500 to $5,000 to go ahead and speak, having these garbage motivational speeches she has and stuff like that, all off the reputation, all off the back of Michael Oher here. So you're right. It's a lot of money that they really need to owe. And I say go ahead and apologize and get a damn check, because they don't want to apologize. Only thing that hurts them more is putting that money out there. Give me my money first, and then say you're sorry. And then you're right. The residuals need to come as well too. And that foundation that they own, he now should be an actual owner of that foundation as well too. Whatever you were making for the past how many ever years or whatever, I'm sure since 2009 when this movie came out, you've been banking. Well, guess what? You now have a partner right here. You have a senior partner, matter of fact, since the entire your entire foundation is really off the lifeline, probably of the suffering that this dude done went through. So now you got to open up your checkbook, your wallet, your pocketbook, your bank account. You got to go back and forth, and you got to hit this brother off with some serious paper to make it up right here. We talking about with interest. The way we get hit with interest all the time, yeah, compounded interest right here. You owe some serious dollars right now, because this right here was a hit piece. This damn movie was.
You know what, Todd? I think we even deserve money because we watched the movie, we wasted our time. So they need to cut check to the entire black family.
Hey, I ain't against that. I see we got Aunt Lie up here. And what's up to everybody up in the space as well? I see No Taxation up in here. Goddess, what's up, guys? Come on up here. Don't be afraid. I see that Negroes up in the space as well. Don't be afraid to come on up here and get on the microphone. We're also talking about Clarence Avant, the godfather of black entertainment. He passed away at the ripe old age of 92 years old. So shout out to that brother. He was a lion in the actual entertainment sphere. We're talking about the Mississippi cops, that the 6 of them that went ahead and pled guilty to state charges this week. Last week was federal charges. They straight up here tortured 2 brothers up here. So we're talking about that as well. And of course, we're talking about Michael Oher, the ex-NFL player who was had this movie made about him that grossed $300 million. And Brother Mocha, who knows how much money, because they show this crap all the time on cable network too. So when they talk about what he grossed on, that's at the movie theater. That's not talking about DVDs. That's not talking about cable. That's not talking about commercial TV and all the other stuff. So this movie's probably by now done grossed by $500 million damn dollars. And this brother ain't see 1 red cent from it. Not 1 red cent from this movie. So yeah, that's what we talking about tonight, y'all.
Bro, ain't no telling. You right, bro. You made a profound point. They ain't no telling how much money they made up off this movie. With the reruns, the selling DVDs and Blu-rays. Yeah, you're absolutely right. They owe all of us some cash.
Yes, sir. Let me get the Aunt Lie. Aunt Lie, how you doing tonight? What's going on?
Peace, Black Power, reparations. Brother Ruka got me over here crying. He said he want to get paid for watching. Oh, he got me crying, and that was funny. In regards to Clarence Avant, rest in peace. He was a legend. I don't want to kick his back in too early. He was a legend in the field. He did do a lot of things that were good. He helped a lot of careers. But when I see a black person in a field for so long and responsible for a lot of things, and we only hear the bad things about artists being broke and things like that, I wonder, like, what was your role in that? In the artists that you work with, what was your role in making sure that they secure financial wealth? Was it a puffy move? And you signed them, and so they blood out. But again, the man he's still warm. I don't want to kick his back in, but I'm always skeptical when things like that happen because you've been in the business for so long, but we only hear the horror stories. Where are the black people in the business? Because back in the day, Aretha Franklin, when they were in the fight in the civil rights movement, they were making sure that they were paying people bail, they was giving people money. So I just want to, I have questions. In regards to the cops in Mississippi, again, I'm gonna say I'm skeptical because the fact that they took a plea, meaning them bastards are not gonna get the rightful time that they deserve, and a plea deal meaning we're gonna stop this where it is. We're not gonna do no investigation. We're not gonna uncover any more things that's going on, and you're gonna take this deal, and it's gonna be lighter than what you would have taken if you would have went to trial. So I don't necessarily see that as a win because I know how messed the system is. For example, they took a federal plea and they took a state plea. If these 6, I don't want to curse because I know you probably got it, but if they took a certain type of plea and they have to do their time in federal prison instead of state prison, they're going to be hanging out and they're going to be chilling in prison. The prison is not going to be, they're not going to be doing no hard time. They're not going to be in the prison in Mississippi or the one, I forgot, was it in Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, is a parsonage prison. They're not going to be in the prison with the criminals or with the black people who they are torturing and killing and having the bad those issues. They're going to be at the white private prisons, and of course, luckily they found guilty. Yeah, they said they did it, but what is the part of the plea? So I still have more questions than that because the fact that the plea was taken so early, that means the level of their corruption will not be unearthed because documents are going to be sealed. They'll take the plea, everything's quiet, and it's going to go away. So what type of, even if they get life in prison, again, if it's life in prison in a federal penitentiary, it's going to be cake for them. Because they tried to do that in Georgia with Ahmaud Arbery, where the state of Georgia was going to try to let them serve their time in federal prison, which is cake instead of state prison. So if they got this plea deal and it was worked out, quote unquote, worked out for them to the point where they don't really have to serve prison time, I don't look at that as a win. And I hope when they get in prison, the homeboys give them what they're asking for. Now, in regards to the Michael Oher, he had me crying laughing. It's not funny, it's fraud. And basically, if you look at the situation, the fact that he was forced, because when you sign legal documentation, they ask you to take any medication, are you in your right state of mind, do you have somebody explaining this document to you? And that's basically how white people get away with, even certain stories doing, you're taking their rights, you're taking the rights to his story. And I wouldn't blame Sandra Bullock, like he wanna sue her too, because as an actor, you don't know the truth of the matter. You just know what somebody brings to you. So if somebody bring me something and they cover it up nicely, then I can't be held responsible because they committed a fraud against me too. No, I'm not saying she a victim. I'm just saying if these white people had money, because they were, and when you got money, you can go to court, you can get anything. You can get birth certificate changes. All you do is pay people, is pay for play. If you got the money to make stuff happen and say you did this and you are white and you in certain areas, we all know the court is corrupt. So I'm going to blame this totally on the family. I believe that they dotted their I's, they crossed their T's, and they made sure, just in the case of slavery, that they got their money off that slave. They saw the big black guy, and they made it happen. And they took the story to Hollywood, and they duped everybody. So I really believe that they should be held accountable. They should be charged with fraud. They should be charged with, I think it's grand larceny, depending on the amount of money. And they should have to pay restitution. And And I really do feel sorry for him, especially since he was in a situation where he's dealing with his own family issues and his family trauma, and then he was taken advantage of by his so-called quote-unquote white savior. It's sad however you look at it. But I feel like the blame needs to be placed on the Mr. and the Mrs. who quote-unquote adopted him, took him in, and he just found out in February that he wasn't adopted. So it's not like he knew this whole time and he didn't say anything. This man just found this, so he's dealing with all the trauma he's dealing with from his own biological family. He just found this out 6 months ago. So, and I'm not saying, I don't know about him not being so smart or people saying, I just know people deal with trauma differently. A lot of black people in this country.
No, it's the way the movie depicted him to be almost like this gentle giant, almost like, oh.
Yeah, they did. I didn't take it for him to be slow. I just took it as him to be a gentle giant because I do believe he was a gentle giant. But I feel like because he knew when anything would happen, he just had a kind heart. I just took it as him having a kind heart, and I feel like he was taken advantage of because again, black people, y'all know we got all the skills to pay the bills, and anything we put our mind to, whether we want to do it or not, we excel at it. And he was taken advantage of by this family, and I feel like that family should be held accountable for the fraud that they committed. And if I was Sandra Bullock and the I don't know about the movie company because I think you investigate, you do some stuff. If I was her, I would sue their ass too, because now you messing with my good name just because you trying to commit a fraud against this individual. But I mean, it's sad however you look at it. But with all these situations, I think is definitely bigger than Nino Brown, and we got to take a deep dive, especially the situation with these police officers. The fact that it was so egregious what they were found guilty, what they actually did, and how long they were doing it. And what I know about these police departments, a RICO charge, organized crime charge, racketeering and organized crime, is when you commit 2 crimes in a 10-year period. And if you have a number of people, and if those 6 people said, well, fuck it, we're going to take it so we don't bring... So we look we look at it as a way, these dirty cops, but everybody else is quiet because there's no way for 6 people to commit this amount of crime and other people are not know about it. So I don't look at that as a win. I look at that as like, they're trying to cover some shit up because they don't took the federal plea before they did the state plea. They're trying to cover some up. There's more bones in the backyard, but they'll never get that out because guess what? Now it's covered up. Case documents are sealed. It's over with. Ain't no further. It's nothing to see here, folks. So we really need to understand when those type of things happen, it's more people. But instead of getting the more people exposed, we going because you think it's just 6 in Mississippi, and we was just out there kicking ass on the river. Nah, baby. But I'll let my plane.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to disagree with you on that. I took that as him being slow in that movie, and the vast majority of people that watched it took him as being slow as well too. Like he had to be taught the game of football by this woman here. And here's a BS part. The dude, from what they were saying in real life, was already a major football player. He had to be taught a damn thing by the time he got adopted or supposedly adopted by this white family. He was already a monster out there on the football field. So the fact that she had to reach out the window and ask him about playing, yell at the window. He asked him if he played football and he know about football. I mean, it was just nonsense. He was like this big man child out there that had to be captivated and had to be nurtured to actually reach his full potential by these good white folks. That's how I took it. That's how most of the people took it. That's damn sure. And the reason that movie blew up the way it was damn sure how white folks took it as well too. That's why the movie ended up hitting 300 million. How many movies have you seen with black people playing football that grosses $300 million at the actual gates? It's simply because of Sandra Bullock's a good actress and this and that, whatever, but it's the whole premise that Hollywood loves to see and whatnot. And the role that they put in there for him. And that's one reason the dude himself hates the role. He hates it. Not just not me and Brother Moku talking. He himself hated the way he was portrayed in that movie because he heard the whispers. He heard people laughing and snickering at him and stuff like that. he himself hated that. He himself said how that affected his also his ability to earn income in the NFL when you're first coming in and stuff like that. They look at you and they talk about your mental capacity and this and that or whatever. He himself hated that himself. So it's not just what I'm saying. It's what he himself thought. It's what most of the people that actually saw it. It's the reason that the movie was so popular and well liked as well too. You had another black that needed to be helped out right here. So he fit perfectly the way that movie was actually depicted. It was perfect how Hollywood loves to go ahead and portray black people, especially black men. This big, strapping, strong black man who who uh who has the potential to be something great, but he's like a diamond in the rough. He just needs to be shaped and formed by the right tool, and he'll get there. It was complete nonsense. Like I say, the boy was already a devastating football player, but yet on the movie, she's showing him this and she's showing him that. And I mean, come on, get out of here. This dude here, what he had, the physical size and the power, that's one thing, but he actually had the actual ability, which he had long before he actually met that family. Let me read a comment real quick here on Twitter. This is from Minister Ali. She says, he went along with it for a certain period of time, correct? So is he slow? And yes, this is a serious question. I don't think he went along with it, Minister Ali, because when the movie came out, it was already done. So I mean, it was nothing he could do to go ahead and stop the movie from coming out. Once the movie came out, I'm sure his family or the white family told him, "Oh yeah, well, we didn't put it in there like that. They went ahead and they spent it. That's how they created it. That's how they made it." What you can go, Hollywood is going to go ahead and shape it the way they want to, but I'm sure they actually help kind of put that narrative in there. So I'm sure they told him, hey, this is out of our hands. We had nothing to do with that. We didn't have anything to do with how they made you look on the screen and this and that or whatever. So I don't think he went along with it. I just think that it was something that was already done. I see Dusty Pookie said they made him appear like a dunce. Yeah, damn right. They made him appear like a dunce. Like he had a big dunce cap on like in the back of the classroom. This guy was like, I mean, for anybody that actually saw it, it was pretty it was stereotypical to say the least. Now if that just makes him look like if that doesn't make him, look, I don't know what, but if you actually see that movie and and if you watch sports and stuff like that and you hear the little coded language that's in sports, and like I say, I've been watching sports for a long time. So when these announcers start saying little coded messages about people intelligence and this and that or whatever, even when they start talking about somebody's physical prowess and this and that or whatever, because when you used to have guys that was running backs and he's a workhorse. He's such a thoroughbred. He's such a workhorse. I mean, kind of stuff like that. Yeah, we kind of know what you're talking about. There was one running back that used to play back in the day, played at the University of Alabama and played in Tampa Bay by the name of Cadillac Williams. Well, I know some people that didn't particularly like the nickname Cadillac Williams. Like, why he got to be a Cadillac? Why he couldn't be a Honda or whatever? I'm like, well, like, no, I don't like that. I don't like that his name Cadillac. So, it's just even though the nickname came from him, I'm sure his people, a lot of black people, like, they're kind of sensitive with this kind of stuff right here because they know behind these type of sometimes these actual nicknames, sometimes there's a lot of different things going on as well too. So let me go ahead. I said we got no taxation up here. Let me go ahead and get the no taxation, and I'm gonna get to Brother McCool, and I'm gonna get back to you, Aunt Lai.
Hey, news and Aunt Live, brother, everybody, DJ Black, everybody, I am, everybody in the room. Hope y'all's Monday was better than mine. That's all I can say. Clarence,
we got to beat up, sister.
All the white people.
Tell the office chairs to roll up. Tell the office chairs to roll up. We got the chairs out.
Facts, no taste taxation. Facts. Beat them all up.
We gonna beat them all up. I want to go back to the dock down there in Alabama. I don't want to leave there. I'm still down there. My mind is still there. Clarence Avant was a real one online. He really was. And Bill Withers really came out for him because he credits him for his career, but he also credits him for being able to keep his masters. And Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, he had them too, and you see what they did. So he was a real one. He was a fixer more than anything. He just knew everybody and he fixed stuff. And he was he dabbled in politics and Bill Clinton even called on him and asked him to fix some stuff, and nothing to do with us. But so he, don't put a discount on his help now. And I'm surprised he lasted this long after that somebody broke in and shot his wife. I knew he was going to go down after that because that's just what happens. And he's an older man. Those cops, I'm without lying. The reason it was so egregious what they did to those men that they had to cop a plea to keep from going to a RICO case. And that's where the real time is. And so I'm without lying. They came in early and said, yeah, we did it. And so they'll take their licks like that. But see, if they had got them from RICO, they could have been in jail for life. And that's what we really wanted. So let's see. I think they get sentenced in November. So let's see what they get. News, I'm with you. I saw that Blindside movie on television, and it was horrible. They made him look like he was an imbecile, and that they picked him up off the street, and that he didn't know anything. He didn't know how to play football. He didn't even know English, according to them. And a white woman had to get out there and teach him how to play football. So I was not too fond of the movie. I didn't like the movie, and it didn't sit well with me. And I only watched it that one time. And even then, in the movie, if you watch the movie, and I know you say you didn't see the whole thing, but if you watch the movie, even in the movie, they looked like they were taking advantage of you, while they try to be so under the guise of benevolency. So if you watch that movie really close, it looks like, oh, we came in here and we saved you. No, you found the black boy in your town that you knew was going pro. That's what you knew. You knew he was a moneymaker. And so you brought him in, and the child was traumatized. Let's be real clear about what was going on with the baby at the time, because he was just a high school kid. I don't care how big he was. He was just a high school kid. And he was traumatized because his mother was not there for him. He was traumatized. And so they could have told that child anything, and he would have fell for it, because he was a baby, he was traumatized, and he didn't have a compass in life. And they took advantage of that, and they made sure he went pro. They put him in front of everybody, to all the scouts and stuff, put him in front of everybody to make sure that he had an opportunity of going pro. Now, here's the thing. If they cared anything about that boy, for real, they wouldn't have lied on him. They wouldn't have made that movie the way it was. And they wouldn't have made him look stupid. And not only does he need to sue them and break that, I don't think he needs to take over the foundation, Mupo. I think they need to give up all their money for that. And everything that they pay and all the money they made, he needs to have his own foundation. And he also needs to sue for earnings that he missed because of the way he was portrayed in that movie. And so they do need to pay him, not something every year for 10 years. No, every year for life. Because you don't know how long he could have been playing. And so if it hurt and damaged his future, he needs to sue for future earnings. And that could take everything. It's like what they did with OJ. OJ can't, he can't make a dime because that white man will claim it to be his. And so, it's a sad state of affairs. It's sad that he had to come out like this. I wondered what was really going on over there. It's none of my business. But, it just didn't, when I saw the movie, it didn't sit well with me, even in the movie. I said they took advantage of it, even in the movie. And here it is all these years later saying, yeah, that's what really happened. So I'm not surprised. They saw money. That's what it was. They saw money, and they made it. And what's the difference between that and enslavement, except for the beatings? None. And I'm going to leave it there.
All right. Thank you, No Taxation. Let me go ahead. I said we got the equalizer. Let me go ahead and get to the equalizer.
Peace, Newstoter. Peace to the speakers. Peace to those who spoke. Peace to the listeners. Y'all know the rest. Yo, to the point. Let's go with Charles Avant. That was a trailblazer for black folks in that industry. For black folks trying to make moves, he created a lane. You know what I'm saying? It could be questioned to the sister earlier that, you know, he could have influenced brothers to do a little more, of course, but he put them on the path to make that. And those decisions should be made by adults in their own lives and where they want to put their money. If they choose not to, then that's what it is. They sell out, then that's what it is. But the fact is that the brother put a lot of people on, you know what I'm saying? And we have to honor that, you know what I'm saying? Especially in the midst of white supremacy and all that, within those industries alone for what he did. So salute to that brother. And he was a very unknown, unheralded brother. And that's another thing about Charles Avant, because a lot of black people could say they don't know who the hell that man was. You know, and because I got a couple friends who was listening on, and they was like, "Who was that?" I was like, "Y'all don't know who that is." So a lot of people didn't know who he was. But to that point, the Michael Oher story, I'm with the sister who just spoke. When I saw that come out, I saw that as some opportunist white people trying to make a buck off a young man and his story, you know. And to the point of the brother earlier, Michael Oher was an NFL lineman, and if anybody knows anything about NFL linemen or about the NFL in general, is that outside of the quarterback, one of the toughest positions to play is lineman. There's a lot that goes behind that. You have to be real smart to be one of those type of players, you know, aside from being a huge, monstrous looking person, you know. And, you know, I think those white folks owe that man everything, because without that man, there is no movement. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, with that we all, I think we all are in agreement with that. You know, they took advantage of this young brother in a time when, you know, he was young, impressionable, and didn't know any better. You know, and we gotta give some grace to that young man, that he wasn't capable to make any type of decision like that in a major way. And the Mississippi story, shame. What a shame. You know, I was reading this story. These dudes did some of the most egregious things that could be done to a human being. Fuck a fucking animal, a human being, anything living. I'm gonna describe some of the shit that these people did. Y'all tell me if this shit doesn't deserve the death penalty. First off, they called up their buddies. You know, hey, I got a mission. I got a fucking mission. We're on a mission. They go with their police uniforms on. Another egregious fuckery right there. Excuse my language. They broke in, tied these brothers up, sodomized these brothers, calling them all kind of niggas and everything else that we've always heard and been said when we were being hung, when we were being whipped, when we were being degraded in the most major and egregious ways. The brother put the gun in this brother's mouth, pulled the goddamn trigger. If there's anything that the motherfucker knows right there, you had intent to murder. And in my book, that's a death penalty. I don't give a shit. I had a cousin who was murdered, so I don't have no motherfucking love for nobody, especially no goddamn cracker that would actually put a fucking gun in a man's mouth with an attempt to murder him in cold blood for no reason other than their homeboy, their white fucking neighbor called to say that these brothers was living somewhere. And I'll land
there. All right. The equalizer. Thank you. Up in the Jumbotron, guys, we have the Newstoter YouTube channel. It's the second on the left-hand side. If you're in this space and you have not subscribed to the YouTube channel, go ahead and click the link and go to YouTube and subscribe right now. For all my people that's on YouTube, make sure that you go ahead and like, share, subscribe, comment for the nice broadcast. We also have the We also have the Funded Socially up in the actual Jumbotron as well, too, guys. Definitely go ahead and go to a Funded Socially and go ahead and create your profile and go ahead and join up on that Black-owned social media site. Black majority state owns it. So definitely go to Funded Socially and become a member today. Become a member today. For those that can, support us on Cash App, $Newstoter, $Newstoter. Newstoter is the largest Black-owned, Black American news media curation platform today in America. Once again, that's $Newstoter, Newstoter. For those that do not have Cash App, we have the Venmo and PayPal up in the Jumbotron as well, too. Let me go ahead and get back to Brother Moku and Aunt Line. Anybody else that wants to speak, go ahead and raise your hand. You see what the topics are for the space tonight, so definitely come on up here. For those that want to go ahead and get up in the conversation, feel free to request the microphone. We'll bring you up here and let you speak on it. Go ahead, Brother Moku.
Yeah, I didn't give a shout out to Clarence. He definitely was a move maker. Didn't agree with everything he did, but just like No Taxation said, and Greg Nice as well, he made that lane, and that's what quote unquote old niggas supposed to do for the young niggas. You know what I'm saying? We supposed to create that lane. So definitely shout out to him. Rest in power to him. Michael Oher, I can't leave this alone because there's so many white supremacist points in this story. But the one I'm gonna harp on is white people do not care about offspring. They don't care about children. They don't care about their own children. They damn sure don't care about Black people's children. This is clear evidence that they already had. This was premeditated, okay? And I'm thinking of this like a murder because they murdered his career. You know what I'm saying? This is premeditation. They should definitely be charged. If I was Michael Oher's lawyer, I would say, look, no apologies. You don't want no apologies. Look, all I want is my money. You feel what I'm saying? Be blatant, be definitely precise with his language. This was white supremacy. I want to hear Michael Oher say this is white supremacy. This is a lot. There's a lot of teaching moments in this about this. These sports and how they took over from lynching. You know what I'm saying? Lynching when they could not lynch us and eat us the way that they usually done for sport. They had to create some other type of sophisticated lynching cycle, which is this: NFL, NBA, NBL, hockey, any sport that Black people participate in, you are being lynched. Okay, this is a highly sophisticated lynching. Okay, this is the type of lynching where, if y'all ever watch Django, you know what I'm saying, and Leonardo da Vinci or whatever the goddamn white supremacist, he played Candy. He played a Mr. Candy, a slave owner. And in that what that whole movie was about them fashioning a sport of them killing niggers. Not just them killing niggers, but them being in control of niggers killing niggers. Okay? And I have to say that with the hard R because this is what that Jewish family was thinking about with Michael Oher. It was a come up, look, let's make some money off this nigger. Okay? It wasn't no knocker, it wasn't no black man. No, let's make money off of this nigger. Okay? And they went so far as to employ and give their offspring his money. You know what I'm saying? This is more than egregious. This is straight up white supremacy. You know what I'm saying? And everybody needs, because this is how they do it, right in front of your face. You know what I'm saying? And all the examples that we can use, this is a perfect example. White people don't care about their offspring, they don't care about yours, and they will kill us at any chance that they get. I'm sure if they had a chance to have Michael Oher at their dinner table as dinner, that's what that was. When they chopping up and dividing his money, that's what that was. You know what I'm saying? That little boy in that movie wasn't no more than 10, acting like he loved Michael Oher. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure sure they was doing this in real life. Just like no taxation said. Your mother, when your mother isn't there, from any age, from infancy to 20, when you're absent your mother, you're absent a nurturer. That man was definite, that boy, because he wasn't a man. And that's another thing. They always try to make out boys men. You know what I'm saying? That was a boy. And they raped him. That's what they did. They raped his career. And so I just really, we all need to get behind Michael Oher, pray to the ancestors that he recognizes and stick to his shit 10 toes down. I don't think that he's going to let up, because if he was even remotely second guessing this or having some type of feelings like they were nice white people, this is proof that there's no such thing as a nice white person. I'm going to repeat that. It is no such thing as a nice white person in a system of racism, white supremacy, y'all. Because guess what? None of them people ain't calling the white supremacists out, and they damn sure ain't giving us a list of white supremacists. Like No Taxation just hit me in my inbox with that list of white supremacists. But you know what? They'll always provide you with who they want to put out there. You know what I'm saying? So I just want us to, pay attention to this. Pay attention to this Michael Oher shit, because that HR 4321, this is the same thing that's going to be happening to everybody if we don't if we're not constantly keeping our foot on the necks of these white supremacists. Not just letting them know we see them, not just letting them know we upset, but letting them know, look, we coming to get your ass. I'll land there.
Real talk. Over there on YouTube, Dusty Pookie, he said this about the same little kid you was talking about in the movie. He says, in the movie, the little white boy taught Michael how to act. The white boy was like 10 years younger, but somehow he was smarter than Michael. Oh, boy. Aunt Lai. Go ahead, Aunt Lai. You got it.
Okay, I'm sitting here, and I'm like, peace to the room. I'm sitting here like, what the heck did I say for you not to agree with it? Because I thought that I said the same thing that no taxation said, and maybe I didn't come out right when I said what I said, because I think it was misconstrued what I was saying. What I was saying was, when I saw the movie, I saw him as a person who was going through a lot of trauma because of what his own family did. I didn't see him as dumb, because in my head, I know ain't no white person going to do half the stuff that they claimed that white lady did in that movie. So it was never a thing in my mind where a white people, they get scared and they clutch their purse. They act like they scared of black people. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, but what did I say? Because I thought I said what she said, because that's what I was trying to say. There's no way a white person is going to take you in their home and not expect nothing in return. And even if they do, it wasn't even believable. When I said the character that he portrayed that I saw, it was that he was a kind-hearted person who was going through a lot of trauma. What I know white supremacy tried to portray him, because once you understand white supremacy, everything else makes sense. So that story of him being not so smart, I didn't believe that. And I know how, for media, they want to, of course they want to make the black man look dumb. Of course they want to portray that they have to teach him all this. I didn't believe that. I wouldn't believe that as far as I can see. And I'm blind in one of my eyes. So me saying that I thought that he was a kind-hearted person, and I still think that he's a kind-hearted person today. But me, somebody said it. I don't know. Sister Soldier said it. Show me these good white people. Show me these good. I have not, in my 40-some years, I have not seen one. I've not heard of one. I've heard that back in the day that people used to get on the line and do extraordinary things. I cannot name one person in history. Some people say John Brown. I have not personally seen not one of these good white people that people claim that this to be out here. So that one. Man, I wasn't saying that they didn't try to make him appear that way. I'm saying because I have knowledge of self, I know my people, and I know how Hollywood wants to be the white savior in every movie, even though there ain't no white savior, and they make up movies and put the white savior in there. And, that I wouldn't beat for the bullshit, speaking on the fact they committed a crime. in the movie, they try to talk about their crime, and I believe they try to provide cover for their crime, because when they had the whole investigation by the school people come in and ask them questions, that was them covering their story already. That, you know, and he came back and said, oh, this is my family. This is what a family do. This is why we go to the school. So, I mean, I never believed that it was good white people on that level at all. And if y'all thought that I was saying that, I apologize. And, no, there's no way. What they did to him, they should get away with it. And because he's 37 now, he has a good case in regards to him not knowing that he was adopted and things like that. He has a very, very good case because he just found out this information in February. It's not like he knew this since he was turned 18. This is information that he just learned, and he acted upon it as soon as he learned it. So he has a very good case. I don't know if he can sue for rape like but he has a very good case to sue for fraud, especially since it was just brought to his attention and he acted on it. And hopefully he get his just due. I also believe that the foundation that they have should be disbanded because it was not created, it was falsified. And then it's like anything that was the fruit of a crime, you got to go away with it, you know. And he needs to get the money, but all the crimes that were committed, he doesn't need to be any part of it because he's saying that they're a crime. And then by him taking part of it, it's giving them a, you don't want to be a part of criminal, you know, because then he can really get them for federal crimes. In addition, especially with the amount of money, what happens with crime, the degree of it change when the level of money, you know, the amount of loss and things like that. So it could be actually a serious case if it's taken away. So I do.
And he was raped on by.
I'll let my point.
All right. I know the equalizer. You had your hand up. Did you want to say something else again? I don't know if I saw you put it down. Did you? Are you good or what?
Oh no, I was good. I was hitting the 100 and it hit the hand raise.
No, okay. DJ, go ahead. Get it in.
Let Sister Tax go ahead. I'm pretty sure she got something to say off of that.
Lai brought up something that I had not even thought about the adoption. What made him think he was adopted? Apparently, they lied.
Facts, no taxation. Facts.
They lied to him and told him he was adopted, and he's going to have to tell his story. There's going to have to be a remake of his story.
Yeah, absolutely.
To correct history.
But remember what I said, when you have money, you can go to court and you can pay for all type of documentation. And what I believe happened because he was a minor at the time, because in the state of New Jersey, when you have a DIFAS case and you're being adopted, the state of New Jersey gives you an attorney. It's called a law guardian. I used to be an investigator for law guardian. So if you have a family involved with a DIFAS case, the parent would get a public defender, and then the child would get an attorney. So before that child is adopted, you would have an attorney look over paperwork and things of that nature. Because he was the age he was, he didn't have an attorney. He had their attorney. So whatever paper they gave him to sign, they told him that we are adopting you. Now you're part of our family, and that is what he believed. Now him being older and him asking for the information or requesting documents, he's coming to find out that it was a conservatorship. It was the same thing in regards to the Britney Spears. It wasn't an adoption. And that's how they were able to sneak that. And when he signed the paperwork, again, because he didn't know what he was signing, legally they ask you, you have to be aware of what you're signing. You can't take any medicines, any when you sign paper. But he wasn't aware because they was the one who was responsible. Because remember, his family wasn't in it, and it wasn't a state case where the state was really involved like that.
Yeah,
so he didn't have that protection.
That's what I'm thinking about. Because see, at this point, I don't even know how they found him.
White people went after the girls. Because in that community, you know the people in your community that play ball. Right. In my neighborhood, they makes the paper.
I think that's what happened. I bet she got wind of it from a school or somebody, a parent, you know how they do. And somebody said, well, he's just out here and he's such a good football player. He him and
That's what exactly what
the whole family.
Yeah, because unlike what the movie was trying to depict, that's what I'm saying. The movie act like he had never played football before. And from what they were saying, in actuality, he was a wrecking ball on the football field. Like people already knew he was already a prospect.
And so if and that's true. And he turned out to be a great football player, but a professional. But here's the other part about it. It sounds like a conspiracy at this point now, doesn't it? Because who told that woman that boy was out here? You understand what I'm saying? He's going to have to tell his story, and she's going to have to go hear her because she's the mother, because she's the one that was prominent in the movie, right?
Can I say something? As a former athlete, especially high school, you have situations where, Michael Oher could have been going to a school that wasn't as prominent in football, right? And the opportunities weren't there. There are a lot of high schools like that, especially in inner city. So a lot of these white people, and I'm speaking from experience, where I live in Connecticut, I played basketball. There was a lot of recruited players. And one of those situations, it was a brother, I'm not going to put no names out, but the brother lived in the projects, whatever. A white family came in. Now, what they did was, to the sister's point, in Connecticut, it's called a guardianship. And what they did was they moved the kid to this particular location with this particular high school, which, breeds particular basketball players. They put them in there. And what happens is these kids move in with these white people. And they, and the parents sign them over, so everything's legal beagle as far as them entering that school system. So I think that could be a situation where they took advantage of that dude's parents or guardian or whomever he was under before they moved with him. So they probably presented this big old nice package. Hey, we're gonna get your son into college. He's gonna go to this prominent high school where he has plenty of opportunity, and and that's how this shit happens. And and henceforth you have a situation where parents aren't educated on this particular subject, and they took advantage of that shit, and and then they ran with it. I don't know as far as Michael Oher's story in particular is concerned, but just in general, that's how that shit plays out. So, just for you guys.
I understand that part, and I know that they were after my son, not white folks. Well, white folks, but not families trying to adopt him or nothing like that. For him to, put him on a path for professional because he had the height and he had weight, so he could have did football or basketball. But I wouldn't allow it to happen. But having said that, it sounds like a conspiracy because who told her that boy was just out there like that? See, in the movie, it's just like she just ran up on the boy in the streets.
Wasn't she in real life? She was a booster. So when you got that kind of access to these high schools,
in the booster club for the high school,
right there you go. And okay. they seen somebody say, "Hey, this guy has pro potential."
No, and they saw him and they said his mother is not around because in the movie it's making it look like his mother. And see, now this is why I said it's a conspiracy. We don't know where the mama was at because white folks done lied. So now we need for him to tell his story and put it up on the screen and correct the record, not just for him and not just and put those white folks in their place, but also for the mother. Because if you look it up on the internet now, they have dragged the mother for filth, his mother. We don't know that that's true.
You preach to the world.
Man, that's to the point. And that's to the point.
This is something that's been happening since the beginning of time, where you had kids where they go in the hood and get the black kids, and he was just in a situation because you don't know if she could have paid the mother money to say that she was a drug addict. The mother in real life not a drug addict. What he said about Connecticut, baby, in New Jersey, they do that. They have kids go to other schools in Patterson, Newark, and Camden. They will take you out and take you to suburbs, Cherry Hill.
There you go.
Montclair. where you be playing balls for these other schools, and they even did it to Zion Williams, because Zion Williams, his mother was in his life, but then it was a scandal about them giving money for college or somebody taking money. They go after these athletes because we know who the stars are. We know that the black is beautiful. We got all the power. Anything we do, whether it's bowling, golf, tennis, basketball, football, we're going to excel. So they look for our kids, and they got dollar signs in their eyes. And they go, and in New Jersey, you make the paper when you play in high school. So they are scoping the paper.
It's funny you say that.
What's up with their family? What's their background? Oh, they go to school where? Oh, take this kid here. And yes, it's a big thing.
Yeah, because I had a homeboy, man. He's from where I'm from, and he moved to Camden, and he went to high school. He played ball, and he went to Cherry Hill High. I guess that's the high school out there. And yeah, so yeah, man. And they recruited him pretty much. You know, of course, he had his folks with him, but you know, they
Camden is the hood.
Camden High School.
But Camden is the hood. Camden had under 100,000 population to the point where it was the most crime for 20, 30 years. So Cherry Hill, that's where the money is. So that's why he went to Cherry Hill, because with him winning them games and winning them championships and the taxpayers and getting the money, all of that is they come after our athletes. They come after our athletes and take them from the hood and put them in these inner city schools. So what happened to them is something that's been happening for years.
And if they can't get them in high school, they send their daughters out there.
They send their daughters to them. Damn right, sis. Damn right.
You see when the Mohani, what is the football player for the Kansas City Chiefs, talking about what's my cheat meal, took fried chicken? That bitch.
All right.
White guy saying like short, blow the whistle. Choo choo choo.
DJ, go ahead, because I know you had your hand up.
Yeah, I just I didn't want to forget my point, but
Go ahead,
no taxation said that this is a conspiracy. I'm gonna go a little bit further, and I'm gonna say this is a team sport. Okay, no taxation asks a profound question. How the hell did this family find out about him? And I think it was Greg that made a good point about how they families. Well, look, this is a network. Okay, this is a network of people doing this shit. Okay, just like when we remember our little brother and sister, they had the little sister brother wrestling in the match. And they cut his hand or cut her hair off. That was a team effort. All of those white people are a team. Okay, I think we forget that racism is a team sport. Okay, so even if it's the white person combating against those other white people that's doing the wrong, this is a team sport. This is what they do. Okay, they play their position. You play the position of opposition. You play the position of this, and we'll throw all these niggas off. Okay, so this is what they do. And so this is a plan. Again, I'll say it was premeditated. Not just premeditated, but it was premeditated on every level, from the coaches to the school staff. Everybody raped him. They raped him. He need to be sued for rape.
All right. Let me go ahead and get to DJ. DJ, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Nah, everybody cooking. I'm over here in the kitchen cooking myself. You know what I'm saying? Pull up, I got some food for you. But hey, remember, I sell DVDs for $1. They tell us what they doing to us in a movie. Don't forget, he got game. Jesus, that you, Jesus? That you, Jesus, right there with the ball handle? Oh, you fired. So let's go run that movie back in the liquor store movie, Moco. You feel what I'm saying? Because now we got to go really look. Father got locked up for. You could say it was drugs, robbing, all this other stuff, but was he set up now? Oh, that's the synopsis right there. You know me? Let's go.
You have a really good point, DJ. I mean, white supremacy is a sport that's played by many, so they could apply it to get this boy locked up. I mean, they could apply it to have his whole family dysfunction. I don't doubt it, because this is what white supremacy does, and white supremacy always.
You there, Moku? You there?
They clear themselves. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you break.
I got a phone call.
Oh, good.
But what I'm saying is, this is what white supremacy does. They play all sides of the argument, and then on top of playing all sides of the argument is the team sport. So you will be confused on who to blame. Blame all of them. All of them get the blame. I don't care if you was just a white person on the sideline cheering. You get some of that blame too. Cut the check. You know what I'm saying? I mean, this is how we gotta be with white supremacy, because white supremacy is this way with us.
Real talk. I can say here in Florida, we have in Florida is a major football producing state. When you come to the South, the deep South especially, football is king. High school football, college football, pro football is big too, but college, might be the king in the deep South. But we have one school here in Florida called IMG Academy, and IMG Academy goes all over. I mean, they go all over the country. I don't care if you're in California, IMG will come out there, and if you're a top prospect, they will bring you to that high school at least your senior year, and you will play football, and you go into a major college. So they'll go from Georgia, they'll go to Alabama. If you're a top-notch program, I don't care forget what city you're in Florida. They'll go throughout the country and find you, and you'll come there. And it's almost like a boarding school to a certain degree or whatever, but you come there, and it's almost like semi-high school, like how they say semi-pro. It's almost something like that to that extreme like that. So yeah, it's
preparatory.
Yeah, it's preparatory. It's big business. So they play on ESPN all the time. They play in a stadium that look like it's a small college football stadium. They able to compete with the big boys because they got the top-notch athletes from all over the country coming there here in Florida. So that's how big high school football is. And like you said, the equalizer, somebody, with her being a booster, and we know like these boosters and some of these boosters at these schools and stuff too, if you have a huge football program, they bring in a whole lot of money. I remember you had a football coach back in the early, and matter of fact, this was a reality show that came on MTV. It was called Two-A-Days, and you had the head coach at this school in Alabama. I think it was Hoover. It was a Hoover High School, and Hoover High School was like a football factory. Well, this had to be around like 2005 or 6 or maybe 7, but this high school coach back then was making $80,000 a year. The high school stadium it was like a small college stadium. They had this big scoreboard and everything else like that. Like they were a real football factory. Matter of fact, the high school coach, he ended up leaving that school, and I think he went to another school or something like that. But to make a long story short, because he ended up coaching small time college ball, but I think he ended up getting fired from one of the programs because he had two families in the same city. Like he was a married man and whatnot, but he had a separate family on the other side of town or whatever. So yeah, he ended up getting fired, but he ended up still getting other jobs and stuff as well too. Like, so all this stuff they be talking about, well, you can't, these cats can mess up and they still can find jobs. And like I say, this had to be like 2000, anywhere from 2005 to 7. A high school coach at that time was making in Alabama. Now, let's be for real. In Alabama was making $80-some thousand a year. So this is big time football. Her being a booster, like I said, this whole thing that she rolled a window down and, hey kid, do you play football? No. They just went ahead and that's what they tell you when these movies come on. What's supposed to be based on the true story, they add things for entertainment purposes. That was one of the things they added for entertainment purposes. This kid was already a prospect here. This kid was already a monster on the football field. So that, in a sense, hey, I'll go ahead and I'll put you up, for a year or so, because you're gonna end up. All we gotta do is make sure you get your grades are straight or whatever, because you're getting ready to go to college. So you might be here for 6-7 months. You might be here for a year. You're getting ready to go to college. You got potential pro aspiration and pro potential. Hey, you end up getting picked or whatever, and you went to Ole Miss. Ole Miss is in the SEC. Ole Miss ain't Alabama, Georgia, but Ole Miss in the past 10, 15 years has been an NFL factory itself. So hey, you go in there, let's be for real. Even though you got the NIL now where they paying the high school players and the college players, back in the day, they couldn't officially pay you. So it was a handshake and hey, we'll pay you under the table. So you going to these schools like that, you getting broke off 20, 30, 40, $50,000 because that's big business. Let's be for real. If you can go ahead and help us fill up our 60, 70, $80,000 football stadium, we don't have a problem giving you $15,000, $20,000, young man. Just keep that between you and me. You come from a family that you stand with the white family, they got bread. Yeah, Reggie Bush, and Reggie ain't the only one. So like they made a big deal about Reggie Bush, but let's be for real. That's how they was rolling in big time athletics for the longest. And even now with the NIL, now the colleges don't have to break money because now you got these sponsors and stuff coming up here that actually pay you in person or whatever. But yeah, the whole thing with this story, it kind of just, like I say, I didn't like the script. I watched a little bit of that movie, but it was just hard to take. I just couldn't, the way they had this dude portrayed, I just couldn't really sit up there and stomach it much. So I was like, look, I can't watch this. I can't watch this whole thing. This is painful to watch. It's making my eyes hurt. It's making my ears bleed to hear this nonsense. I gotta turn it. I gotta find something else. I said we got Rella up here. Rella, let me go ahead and because you're a new speaker, so let me go ahead and get you up in here. What's up, Rella?
Hey everybody. Hey Newstoter, DJ. I see you down one tonight.
Yeah, Professor. I don't know. I don't know where Professor at, but hopefully he's doing okay. But what's up, Rella?
Yeah, definitely. I'm maintaining as much as I can. Life is life, but I'm still here. So, I just want to say, and shout out to the room. Definitely shout out to the room. I got love for all you guys. The Clarence Avant, definitely, that was definitely a big, hit in the entertainment world. A lot of people probably don't. I don't even know if people know him, on the stuff that he did do. The other one, Michael Oher, I actually tagged him. And maybe, one day he'll learn how to work on spaces and come into a space and actually talk about what happened to him. I wonder if he was like Brother Moo was saying. I wonder if he was, maybe assaulted in any way, or if he was coerced in any way, because it was almost like these are the practices of groomers, and you only notice that they come around when athletes, especially black men, or even if they're high-powered athletes in the community that are getting ready to go, or prospects of the pros or going into D1 schools, you see them come around. And it is a culture practice because Dion talked about it when he was down in Jacksonville. He talked about how when he took a lot of those D1 players down into Jackson and how he had to have a whole conversation about, the young players getting caught up with, the girls that literally they have them lined up at the locker room, and majority of them are white. You know what I'm saying? So it's like they're pimping out their own children for money and wealth. So why wouldn't this other family and whomever was a part of targeting Michael Oher at such a young age target him and utilize the fact that he comes from an underserved community and say, well, I see, big dollars in the future. This is the thing now. I was talking to a friend of mine about, they plan out years of targeting and predatory practices against our community. And you can see it. They don't do it to themselves. Because you notice, you don't hear any stories about any of the white male players where some white woman came to rescue them, and not all of a sudden, he has to sit here and fight for to get a conservatorship lifted. You don't see black families adopting high D1 white player athletes because we don't attend their events like that. We're not hovering around at their schools as if we're, out at the plantation getting ready to pick the best buck, and we're going to go ahead and ride that one down because that one is going to be the breadwinner and take our plantation to the next level. That's exactly how they actually do our children. So we can't even enjoy, and I come from a football family. I am a former athlete as well, and I saw these things. I saw them coming into Inglewood, where a lot of the players came out of Morningside and Inglewood, who went to D1 schools and into the pros. They would sit at the games and then come onto the field and want to shake hands with the coaches and try to buddy up with the players. Even so much so, out here where I live, I recognize there's a culture where, they have these young boys practicing, degenerate behaviors with each other, calling it, what are they calling it?
Hazing.
Yeah, the hazing. And I remember asking one of the young boys that I actually talked to out here that plays football, and I said, why is there always this big deal about, boys smacking the boys on the butts and stuff in the football field or whatever? And then come to find out, this shit that was coming out on ESPN about in the news with the young boys now talking about how they were sexually assaulted, that is a culture that these white coaches are pretty much perpetuating, and they utilize their own children or their own like players to practice and push that shit on our kids, and then they start perpetuating that shit. Like, it's bigger than what you say online is bigger than Nino Brown. It's bigger than Nino Brown, because we're talking about a higher level of wealth of transfer, utilizing butt breaking in such a egregious way that they are going to be the benefactors because they set their daughters up with your children, and then tell your sons, love is love. Love is love, and, we don't see color over here. Then they start to brainwash them in that way. And they, next thing you know, they all caught up because they're not paying attention to the snakes getting ready to snipe them. Soon as they get your John handcuff on that document. And that's what I do believe happened to Michael Oher. I believe that because he was such a young player, that he didn't know the law. He didn't know what it meant to have someone coming in, swooping in as if they were the white knights to save him from the big bad neighborhood, that they were actually in it for the long haul. You talking about $300 million. We ain't talking about no chump change. These people are in it for the long haul, and they set themselves up. They set themselves up for the long haul, and they put their daughters in place. Because if they don't got sons that'll take them to the pros, they're gonna get with the next best thing, and then they're gonna teach your sons to don't see race, don't be racist. It's not about color. You understand? This is an entire orchestrated system, and they utilizing our damn skills. They do it with boxing. They do it with any sport that we excel at. Basketball. That's why you always hear that. That's why Kanye West could make that damn song. When he get on, he'll leave you for a white girl. Come on now. The bad part about it is that we lose. Our community loses because the economics that is pulled out of the talent, it has been stolen from our communities. I mean, I don't even know how else to say it. We already been knew about Kobe. We was on that since, early on. From the time that he met Vanessa in the beginning, everybody in LA knew about that situation and how that woman broke up his damn relationship with his mother, and knowing that her mom was a whole racist, right? But we sitting here singing Kumbaya because he's gone. His daughter's gone. The transfer of wealth is done. It's done. There's no black and brown coalition. There is none of that. The reciprocity when it comes to other groups and their communities getting into the pros and them getting with black people, that money don't come back into our community at all. At all.
should, sister, even if it even makes it to our community, man. Because if anybody's been watching the past 5 years of any draft, whether it be NBA, NFL, those are the major ones. But
and then they'll tell us why y'all getting mad about LeBron James' son being with the white girl at the school. Y'all so racist. No, it's not even that. It is a bigger picture, and it's crazy because no other group has to sit in the position that we sit in. Not one. And I can't stand when people try to black and brown us. They don't even, not one. Okay, because Telemundo is doing very well. The Latin community is doing very well. The ones that are on the outskirts that's because they have inner tribal wars just like any other group. Okay? The ones that try to latch onto us are the ones who will literally sit there and snipe you. So I don't even want to hear that either. And I'll digress. Sorry.
No, that's cool. We're not gonna keep the space open too much longer. I guess I'll go ahead and let Aunt Lie and No Taxation be the last speakers for the night, and then we're gonna go ahead and probably close it out for the night. Go ahead. I'm not sure who was next. Is it Aunt Lie or No Taxation?
No taxation explain.
Really, she done made my head go someplace else. I almost forgot what I was supposed to be saying because there's so much out there, so much information out there. One thing I wanted to say is that they even have it on lock when it comes to the scouts. I remember probably back in the 90s, and I was down south, and Brigg, he used to play for, we still call it the Washington Redskins, older cat. And he knew my father, and he contacted me, and he said he wanted to come down there and do some scouting, look around and see what it looks like. Would they be receptive, the players? And I did. I asked around, and they said, no, so-and-so said he's going to help me. So-and-so. See, we got to get out of that the white man can help you before the black man can. And we need to have more black scouts so we can keep stuff in our neighborhood and direct them our way. And the other thing I wanted to ask you a question.
No taxation. What was that Ravens player that they was all up in arms with because he didn't want to have a
quarterback, Lamar.
Yeah, he didn't want to have an agent, and they was trying to trash him in the Ravens, talking about some of his mother is not the right person to be trying to do the deal for him. Remember, because the money was going to go to his mom, and they gave him a hard time.
Yeah, and they had to sign him anyway because they couldn't lose the talent, and so he ended up getting a good contract. So he negotiated that thing all the way down the line, and he was a smart person to do that. I wanted to ask you, News. I didn't hear the story break, so I'm just now really finding out about it. I do know about the movie. How did he find out? How did he get down that road to say this is what I found out? You understand what I'm saying? Or did he even tell it?
I don't know. It seems like he found out in February this year. They said he just recently found out. I don't know how he came across that and stumbled. I don't know if he stumbled across a document or something like that, but he just recently finding out himself.
Ask you this: do you think he is short on money, and he went back to look to see where he could get? You know what I mean?
That's a possibility because you never know what athletes as well too. So that's always a possibility. I don't want to speculate, but football players don't get the guaranteed contracts that basketball and baseball players get as well. So, that's always a possibility.
Yeah, we're gonna have to. He's gonna have to tell his story because that record has got to get straight. There's too many unknowns in that. You know what I mean? Other than the fact that these people came in here and took advantage of him, that's a known. Everything else is kind of like an unknown. How did they find him? Who told them about it? And even if her being in the booster club, she probably was watching all the athletes. He needs to tell his story.
You figure that he's 37 right now, so this contract had to be signed over at least by 20 years ago, I would think. So the fact of the matter, he's just finding out about it now. You wonder how he stumbled upon that. So I don't know if maybe he is having some issues financially, or he was trying to do something business wise. Who knows? But the fact of the matter that he's just now seeing this, and this is something that's probably been at least 19, 20 years old, makes you wonder.
Yeah.
Hey, Toter, did he know his mother? Did he know his mom?
Yeah, he knew his mom.
He knew his mom, and his mom was in his life, other than like what the story was trying to depict. And I think I saw that. But Newstoter, a couple of years ago, I thought he was trying to break his story a couple of years ago. I could have sworn he had distanced himself because there was like this falling out, and it probably was about money. But he has his book called My Back, or When Your Back Is Against the Wall. And I think that's probably, maybe him telling what's going on with his story. But he's doing interviews, so maybe it'll be a good.
Definitely hear.
Maybe in the process of him filing this lawsuit, he found that shit out, man. That could be really.
Let me say this, and then I'm going to get off of here. The other thing, Newstoter, is you brought up something that is extremely important, because you talked about Uber, and we all know the little girl. I call her little girl because she's so young. Still a 25-year-old girl that said she was kidnapped. And I told everybody, y'all don't understand what Uber is. Hoover is a very hoity-toity neighborhood, and you're right. Alabama football, they don't play in Alabama about the football. They'll kill you about it. They're very serious about their talent. They have no national team, and so the college and high school football is extremely important, and there's a lot of money in it. A lot of money in it. Boxing as well, down in Florida. But did they have, because he was out of Tennessee, I believe, when he was coming up, they didn't have the Tennessee Titans, did they? Because, see, that makes a difference, too. And the reason I say that is because the state changed when they got a national team. All states will change. If you don't have a national team, get one.
Yeah, no taxation. I think they got the Tennessee, the Titans have been around since, I want to say, about 95 or so. So yeah, they would have had it by then.
Yeah, they went from Houston to Tennessee.
Yeah, they went from the Oilers to the Titans. So probably around about 95, because Steve McNair played it. So it had to be around 95, 96 at least.
So they were looking at the money. They saw how much money they could bring in, on a professional level,
I don't think
college is one thing, but when you start talking about the pros, that's a whole different set of money.
Right.
And not just how much the player is going to make, but how much everybody is going to make off. White folks got this game on lock, and we got to unlock this shit. We really do. And I'm going to look here.
And they don't see them as him. They don't see them as, they see them as
yeah.
Real talk. Lai, I know you had your hand up too. Did you want to say something? Because you was one of the last speakers that was going to speak tonight. Did you have something you wanted to say?
I just want to say that Rella hit the nose on the head, or the nail on the head. My head hurt, I'm sorry. In regards to basically how this whole thing is going on, and it's basically child trafficking, and they traffic them in different ways. They traffic them for sports. They traffic them for sex. They traffic our children. They focus on their talent, and they try to figure out their way how to make sure they take our generational wealth away from us, so that they will be getting the money. God forbid if something happened, then their spouses, which is one of their daughters, and the generational wealth is transferred. And they scope our kids out. What they did to him is definitely something that's been going on since the beginning of time. I'm glad he's shining a light on it, because I don't even think people understand the scope. People in the sports field understand, because I think Reggie Bush too was giving money and all this. It's definitely something that's done. But how they exploited this young man's life for $1 sign, I mean, it's definitely people that need no brown, but it's definitely done in all areas and aspects. And white supremacy is just out of control. And I'll let my point.
The difference with him and Reggie Bush too is that Reggie Bush mother and stepfather was around to be involved in his life. Say what you want to about them taking money and getting a house or whatever. His family was around, unlike this kid at the time. He was a kid at the time that went to go live with these people and stuff like that. So that makes a difference as well too. When you have the actual family structure around and stuff like that, that can make a huge difference. And unfortunately, whatever the issue was with his mother, I don't know. I don't know where his father was at or any other family members or whatever to take him in, but he went over there with them. And, they let's be for real. These people saw an opportunity the whole time. He was an opportunity to them. It wasn't just that they did it out of the kindness of their heart. And I know you may have some people that actually that may take a child in out of the kindness of their heart, but these people here, they didn't see it. They saw it as a business venture. They was able to cash it in, and that's where we're at right now. They from what, because I saw Black Sports Online, and that's one of my main curators with sports. It looks like he said something to the fact that the Tui's lied for years about Michael Oher being their adopted son when they knew they had him in a 360 Britney Spears contract, forces you to question everything they ever did for him, which is real. They knew exactly what was up. They had this contract. They went behind his back. And it pretty much, it was almost like one of these sharecropper contracts that they got black people would in back in the day to tie you to land that you were never going to actually benefit from, but they were going to benefit from it. And that's really the equivalent of what it was. And in their mindset, they said, well, hey, you know what? You made it to the NFL. We helped you get there. We provided a roof over your head. So, yeah, if we enriched ourselves in the process, oh, well, so what? You made your dreams came true, and it came true because of us. So that's how they're looking at it. They're looking at it that, hey, we were the ones that got you to that level. You should be grateful. You should be happy. So we didn't do anything wrong. And they'll say the only thing and they're not even going to sit up here, and they could at least adopted the kid. They didn't even want to do that. They didn't even, because that shows you the fact of the matter that they wouldn't even adopt him after telling him that they adopted him. Shows you what kind of level of disdain they really had for him deep down inside. The fact of the matter that you couldn't even adopt him, you brought him into your house to live and this and that or whatever, get ready to send him off to college, which, like I said, he was already this major prospect. The fact of the matter that you wouldn't even officially adopt the kid lets you know exactly how you truly felt about him. I'm gonna let Aunt Lie, I'm gonna let Rella, I'm gonna let you guys get it in for 1 minute each, guys, or 2 minutes. I'll give you 2 minutes, and then we're gonna close it out for the night. Go ahead, Rella, and then I'll go to Aunt Lie.
I want to go first, and I'll yield to her first.
Go ahead, Aunt Lie.
Thank you. I just want to say really quick in regards to them not adopting him, because legally they would have been responsible for him. And in conservatorship, it just means I run your money. So that was a legal move that didn't do the adoption, because adoption, I have to be responsible for. You have to be responsible for your Medicare. I have to be responsible for your needs, your shelter, your everything. But me doing a conservatorship, that's only all your money I'm in control of. The decisions you make, I'm in control of. Before you do anything, buy anything, whatever, before you sign on the dotted line, baby, you got to come through me. So that's all the control is. And like you just said, Newstoter, that let you need to know everything about them. The fact that they didn't even want to do that because they didn't want the responsibility, but they wanted to make sure that they spend his bread or the rights to his bread, the rights to his money. And they, that's wrong. I'll let my plan.
Absolutely, Aunt Lie. Like I say, if you feel that way, then don't put out some BS movie sitting up here talking about your adopted son, and you sitting up here in the public telling everybody that this is your adopted son when you know damn well you never filed the paperwork for him to actually be your adopted son. Go ahead, Rella.
Yeah, thank you, Ms. Turner. And I agree definitely with Aunt Lie. And I do also believe that because they tried to make it seem like the mom wasn't there, that I believe she wouldn't give up her rights. I think that is what it was, because he was still underage. He wasn't 18 yet. And I do believe that they made some sort of deal that, okay, well, if you allow us to take conservatorship, we'll make sure he gets access to, recruiters and particular groups of people that wouldn't look at him if we say so. And this is the piece that we see in the community, that these people will gatekeep you out of thriving, just so much so just to say that, well, I'm the reason why you got access to so and so. The NFL, in a lot of pro athletes that played from high school into college who never got a chance to go pro, I do believe it was because of access. I do believe it's because they would not sell themselves, and I do believe it's because their parents would not sell them to the highest bidder. And because of that, their ability to play the sport and have love for the sport dwindled, and they went into something else. But they never come out and tell these particular type stories. They don't tell you about, how the recruiters come into the community and how vicious they are. That's why, you guys remember, it was a big deal about recruiters giving gifts and stuff and trying to give money and cards. Remember, it was always a big issue about that coming out. And how they were actually trying to persuade players and their families, giving them money, telling them they'll pay off your house, buy your house, or help. You know what I'm saying? When you look at the dynamics of the way that they have also contribute to the breaking down of our community, it is truly a sickening system, and it harms even the players, the athletes, and their families altogether. These people are sick. I do believe they need to be labeled as predators, because that's what they were. I don't care if it was $300 million. That's $300 million trafficked money that they took from this man. They took that money from this man. That's a traffic situation. That should be a crime. That's because Britney Spears' father was her father. I'm not saying it was right? But at the same time, her money is sitting somewhere and they're ciphering it, where his money was actually in a contract where they were able to put it somewhere so that they would be the benefit factors of taking that money. It wasn't somewhere for him to get access to later on. That's why he's like, no, you can no longer use my name and likeness, and I agree with no taxation. He needs to tell his story, and he needs to be honest and be like, yeah, they swindled my mother because they saw that we was poor and they saw I had talent, and they were in it for the long haul. They knew they were going to do this. Because if you look at them on the red carpet, look how they smiling and cheesing and shit, and he's standing there like, what can he say? He's the odd man out. He the talent. They don't have no talent. There's no one would know them other than him in that movie. This is what they do. They ride the backs of black men in the NFL and in the NBA and all the other sports, and then turn around and tell you, well, you can only have access if I say so. This is the reason why I say we need our own pro sports. I am for the big three and any other organization that builds itself for itself. I've always said that. I've always said that.
All right. Thank you, Rella. Thank you, guys. I want to appreciate everybody that came out to the space tonight. I will say, for those that have not donated on Cash App, and I don't think nobody did, it's still $ Newstoter, guys. So before the space goes out, you can donate $1, $ Newstoter. We will be back tomorrow night, guys. So definitely check us out, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Shout out to the co-host. I don't know where my man Professor was at, but hopefully Professor's straight. Shout out to the speakers, the listeners, and everybody up in the space tonight. Once again, tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the usual time, guys. Definitely go ahead and check us out. Make sure you retweet the spaces out as well, too. So everybody be safe, and we will see you guys then. Peace.
Hey, next space in the Jumbotron or the chat, peace.
Real quick, let me give a shout out to Aunt Lai. Aunt Lai, shout out to you for your contribution on Cash App. Let me go ahead and close the space out, guys. Y'all be safe. Have a good night.